And a very good afternoon to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC News Break. Caribbean leaders and high-ranking officials are in Barbados for the 36th regular meeting of CARICOM heads of government. Prime Minister of Barbados, Frondell Stewart, will chair the summit after assuming the chairmanship of the 15-member regional grouping. The Caribbean heads will discuss energy, the establishment of the single market, the technological development of the area, the promotion of candidates to the relevant international positions, and the claim for compensation from Europe for slavery. They will also review their relations with the Dominican Republic in the wake of its decision to repatriate thousands of Haitians born there and their territorial disputes between Guyana and Venezuela and Belize versus Guatemala. Well, CARICOM has to take decisive action to avert a developing humanitarian crisis between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This from CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque. He says the matter is of serious concern to the regional grouping. The ambassador spoke to CBC News ahead of the first set of meetings for today as the 36 Heads of Government Conference gets underway.
The situation is just untenable. And also we are noting that a humanitarian crisis is developing by virtue of the fact that persons are going. I understand the latest figure of about 19 or 20,000 persons have gone back into Haiti and to what kind of facilities. So it's an issue of concern to us.
Ambassador LaRocque is also expecting discussions on the dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. CARICOM has already indicated support for Georgetown, but the ambassador says the matter is high on the agenda. Overall, Ambassador LaRocque expects a very productive conference.
I think we're going to have very significant discussions on a number of issues that have a bearing on our future development. The fact that Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is here with us, I think, is a signal of the seriousness of what we're addressing. I'm talking about the issues of the post-2015 development agenda, which sets a framework for global interaction and development issues, climate change, of course, and financing for development. And of course, the heads of government have a number of other very critical issues relating to the internal operations of our community to discuss. So I'm looking for an excellent meeting in the coming days.
Efforts are being made to breathe interest back into Grand Kadooment. Republic Bank Barbados is the latest sponsor to come on board for the event, and Manager of Administration at the National Cultural Foundation, Wayne Webster, says it will not only benefit the NCF, but says band leaders will also be getting some prizes from the sponsors. The bank announced its 3-year sponsorship at its flagship Broad Street branch, which featured a mini parade to its Independence Square branch.
The NCF has struggled over the past 10 years or so to continue to keep Grand Kadooment as the signature event of our festival, owing in part, regretfully, to dwindling corporate support. You can therefore imagine how excited we were, and still are, when we got the news that the Republic Bank, one of our most dedicated and committed sponsors of the Crop Festival, had agreed to rescue the jewel.
And Manager of Marketing and Corporate Communications at Republic Bank, Debbie Stout, explains that the sponsorship is part of the bank's 20-year history in Cropover. She also called for creativity to return to the event.
We want Grand Kadooment to move beyond bikini masks, feathers, and jewels, even though we understand and appreciate their visual and symbolic impact. And all the bikinis here, beautiful. Based on what the NCF has shared, the Republic Bank Grand Kadooment will this year become even more of a spectacle, as approximately 10,000 costume masqueraders from 24 bands converge on the National Stadium to parade before the judges and then take to the streets with one thing on their minds.
In related news, coordinator of Grand Kadooment, Aja, says safety measures will be implemented for this year's judging of Grand Kadooment at the National Stadium. Earlier this year, the stadium was closed after some of the stands started to collapse.
We at the National Cultural Foundation will be making a special effort to make sure that you can come and enjoy the spectacle in the National Stadium in a safe environment. We are going to be covering the cycle track. There will be covered seating on the cycle track. So pictures out there, you can come and enjoy the judging of the Grand Kadooment on Monday, August the 3rd at 9 o'clock.
On the United Nations to commit to funding and other necessary initiatives to address vulnerabilities of Barbados, CARICOM, and other small island developing states. This was his message to the high-level officials gathered for the first meeting of the 36th CARICOM Heads of Government Summit, a high-level strategic dialogue which just ended at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center.
We look beyond the outcome documents to implementation, bearing in mind our unique status as small island developing states. We focus closely on the means of implementation, issues such as access to financing, partnerships, building capacity, as well as legal, administrative, statistical, and other policy frameworks to support the effective implementation and monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals, which will be agreed on.
Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon gave a commitment to address critical issues facing the region, especially as it relates to climate change.
Through the Green Climate Fund, GCF, and in working with world leaders, I will continue to press that seeds and least developed countries are top funding priorities. Excellencies, distinguished heads of state and government, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, many of my top development advisors are here to take part in the dialogue today. We will seek ways to address your concerns, and of course we will draw from and strive to build upon your ideas. My main message to you today is to remain fully engaged and keep working with us to strengthen our partnership during this vital year for humanity.
Well, given the growth of warrants, at least one transport body sees the location as ideal for a new terminal. The Alliance of Owners of Public Transport says it is willing to engage government on the idea and even working with them on developing it. Public Relations Officer Mark Griffith says there is an increased need for transportation in the Warrens area.
We think that it would be appropriate to have a modern new terminal in that area. You know, we can partner with the private sector and government in looking at this. We think there's a lot of potential there. We can improve the situation in Barbados quite a bit with regards to business activities if such a structure were erected. You know, persons who would not need to go into Bridgetown could easily, you know, if they work in that area, get transportation to the north or south, whatever. You know, we think that better transportation will create more business opportunities in Barbados.
Mr. Griffith says that there are several outstanding PSV drivers and conductors who go beyond the call of duty and are a credit to the industry.
Unfortunately, they do not get the kind of recognition that they deserve. When someone does something that is good, unfortunately, it doesn't get the attention as if someone had done something that was negative. But there are persons out there who drive very responsibly. There are persons out there who can be relied on in ways that no other form of public transport currently can be relied on. For example, people can take their little children, 5 years old, 4 years old, whatever, and put them on some minibuses, route taxis, and rely on the driver and conductor to take their child to the school.
Well, tenants living in an apartment at Diamond Valley in St. Philip are now homeless after it was destroyed by fire late Monday night. 8 tenants, including the landlady, were present when the fire started. No one was injured, but they lost everything in that fire. Over the last few days, residents have been bringing clothes and food for them. Orlando Davis, one of the tenants, says it has been very difficult for him.
It's very hard. I mean, a house fire and losing all your possessions can be easy. And for the people that experience it, we know, so we can talk about it.
And the landlady, Afira Greenwich, says she does not know where her next move is and is asking the public to assist her and the tenants.
Help, because I got nowhere to go and the house is in no condition to live in, so I don't know what to do. I just stranded here with 2 of my tenants.
Regional and international news next.